Jackson Thomas, and I'm a third-year CM student and a CCC ambassador. And this is Karri Novak, and she is the vice president at Suffolk Construction. So to start things off, I want to hear about your Cal Poly experience. What was it like, and do you think it prepared you well for the industry?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, my Cal Poly experience was amazing. You can pick a better place to live and go to school. Now, it feels like ages ago. I graduated in 1993. I graduated from the civil engineering department. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, so a little bit different from CM. So how did you kind of get into the construction field rather than kind of going that more engineering route?
So the CM department always had very impressive career lunch and learns and industry coming on campus and doing presentations. Even back then, they were bringing in dinner. So I would find, my way over to the CM department. It was before the building. They were still in the architecture department building, I believe.
Not before this guy back here.
Yeah. The building was not built yet. So, and such a beautiful building that you guys have now. I think I probably would have changed my major had I found myself over there. But, I stuck it out in engineering and, ended up interviewing quite often with construction firms that came on campus. I think I was always destined to go the contractor route.
Yeah.
And, the year before I graduated, I took a summer internship with Guy F. Atkinson, whom I met when they were visiting the CM department, a heavy civil contractor, and spent a summer up in Seattle, sunny during the summer in Seattle.
That's
good. Yeah. And then when I graduated, went back to work for Atkinson in San Francisco. So a number of years later, Clark Construction purchased Atkinson, and that's how I moved over to the Clark side of the business.
You've been a participant in the CMAC for a while, and you were one of the founders. Is that correct, or one of the first?
Right, one of the founding members. Yeah.
How have you seen that change, like over the years, with getting new people and different things opening up with CMAC, and then what changes do you want to see moving forward in the future?
So it was when I joined the board, it was not a board. It was an advisory committee. I think it was called the Industry Advisory Committee. And it was born from an idea to, bring industry in and advise on certain topics. I think that the purpose were the students coming out prepared to go to work, and was the curriculum in line with what industry is demanding?
Yeah.
So over time, the board has really evolved into, and I really love how it's now more give back to the students in terms of providing scholarship opportunities or providing opportunities to fund, different programs and purposes. So, and I'm so impressed with the students. So the first few years on the board, we would have a couple student groups come in, but not nearly the participation that we have from students now. So I really enjoy and I love seeing the board really closely connected to the students.
What are the main reasons you stayed on that board for so long? Do you think that it was just because you enjoyed working with a bunch of other people, not necessarily in your same area or anything, or with different companies, or working with the students directly? What do you think was the reason you stayed?
I think it's been interesting to see the curriculum evolve and change with our industry changing.
Right.
So I think in the early days, we were transitioning to more projects being design build. And so curriculum was developed around design build delivery. And then BIM and all of the technology and virtual design and construction became, the next. And so we started talking about more curriculum that supported BIM and virtual design. Now, the next may be more technology and innovations in our business with prefabrication. And so I think my involvement of the board, I've enjoyed that part of it, watching the curriculum evolve to support the students and have them be successful. I mean, Cal Poly graduates are super impressive when they come out. I mean, they really do hit the ground running without much, there's not a lot of teaching required to, how to do an estimate or how to do a takeoff or how to build a schedule. Cal Poly students come out with a lot of really good skills. And so I think that's been, one of the reasons I'd like to stay involved in the board. And, I like to come to Cal Poly a couple times a year as well.
It's not too bad of a place. You recently started a newish position at Suffolk. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
I just wanted to ask about that transition, because I know there are some people who will stay with the company for however many years and then move, but it seems like you kind of made you made a move very late. How did that change kind of affect you, and what surprised you at your new role?
I'm still sort of in the middle of it. So so I joined Suffolk in January after 27 years with another company. And I really grew up with the other company. So it was, with Clark Construction, and it was, I had many amazing opportunities. We grew the Western region at Clark from, a $300 million a year construction company in 1999 when I moved from the Atkinson side of the business to we were doing, Clark's doing $2.5 billion and has
that's
the
crazy.
most impressive projects across the West, with having built Petco Park, Camp Pendleton, Naval Hospital, Golden State Warriors Arena. I mean, the projects are Disney Cars Land. I mean, they're super impressive projects. And
they are.
I felt like I needed to be in a role that was more entrepreneurial and, take what I grew up with, which was building the business and expanding it in the new wins and the new markets, and take that experience and bring it to a new team. So I joined Suffolk to expand their work on the West, particularly in the higher ed sector.
So Suffolk, one of their philosophies is prove impossible wrong. When have you been able to prove impossible wrong? Sometime in your career or just in life in general?
I am, first generation college graduate. I did prove impossible wrong a bit. I had to do a lot of it on my own because I didn't have that path, put in front of me to follow in theirs. They had my parents had a little different background.
Yeah, I think that with a lot of students, kind of being a first generation college student is difficult. I think that it's like a world that your parents don't necessarily understand because they didn't do it. So it makes you kind of you don't really have any guidance necessarily. So you've been an advocate for women in construction and working to rebuild the ratio. How have you seen the ratio change over the recent years, and how has being a woman in construction benefited you?
So the ratio as far as women in project manager roles has significantly increased over the years. I think we need to improve is women in leadership positions. There's so much benefit to having more women in senior leadership positions. And I think it was harder in my early careers. I didn't really have many senior women leaders to look to. The ones that were in senior leadership positions didn't exactly model a life that I felt was what I wanted. So, their stories were a lot about sacrifice and, maybe not having kids or having to work around the clock. And, I really value my family life, and I really value the balance of having a very full career, but also being able to, also have things outside of work that are important to me. So, I think that was, and I do have a few examples of women that did balance that and did it well. And, hopefully if I can leave anything behind, it's, demonstrating and showing how it can be done. I had to let go of the guilt of always feeling like I needed to be somewhere else. So, I'd be with my kids and I felt like I needed to be at work, but I'd be at work and I felt like I needed to be with my kids. And so, I mean, that's not possible. So, I think I, over time, learned to be very present in what I was doing. A lot of it is communication too. If you're going to be out, let people know you're going to be out. If you're, you have some extra time on your hands and you want to contribute more to a certain project, make that known.
Okay, well that basically wraps up the questions that I had for you. Is there any like last parting words before we end the recording that you'd like to say to students or faculty at Cal Poly who will hopefully be watching this?
Not really, I guess. I have my, standard, advice. One of them is, don't compare yourself to others. Everyone's career has a different trajectory and it ebbs and flows at different times, and it's a marathon, not a race. Be authentic. I really believe that you can't act like someone else in this business. You just have to find your own style, find your own way, and be authentically yourself. I think my recent best piece of advice is get enough sleep. It's really hard to be at your best, I think I learned that from my 2-year-old.
Awesome. Well, Karri, thanks so much. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording. But this has been a hard hat discussion with Karri Novak, Vice President at Suffolk Construction.